Welcome back to S&S Grills. My name is Mike with the Everyday Barbecue YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the best lamb chops you've ever had out on the Slow and Sear kettle. And it's coming up right now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We really appreciate having you here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, we'd really appreciate if you'd consider doing so. Now let's get right into this recipe. Today's recipe starts with some things you need to know during shopping. When you're shopping for your rack of lamb, most important things to remember: find the rack with the straightest bones possible that still has a nice meaty end cap with some marbling. The bones really only come into play during the searing process, which I'll show you a little bit later on during the video. Now that your shopping's done, let's make a wet rub for these lamb chops. I'm starting here with some extra virgin olive oil. To that, we'll be adding garlic, rosemary, black pepper, salt. You don't need very much salt. Lamb naturally has a salty flavor. Now we just need to get this mixed well. And this right here is the texture you'll be looking for. Now when you're trimming this lamb, take your time, don't sweat it. Really what we want to focus on is getting rid of as much of that fat as possible. That's going to expose meat, which we're going to be able to apply rub to, which will stick, and give us more surface area for that beautiful char flavor during searing. So you just want to take your time, remove as much of that fat and silver skin as possible. It might take you a little bit, but it's going to be worth it in the end result. Once you're done with your trimming, we're going to cut these into lamb lollipops, which is 2 bones each. Then gently apply the wet rub and get these into a sealable container into the refrigerator for about 1 to 3 hours. Just want those flavors to really absorb into that meat. Now it's time to talk setup for the Slow and Sear kettle. I have the Slow and Sear in place with 20 charcoal briquettes, a couple small chunks of hickory, and of course my fire starter. I did leave the water reservoir in place. We're not going to be cooking with water today, but it's going to help us to protect those bones during the searing process by providing a bit of a shield. And I do have my dripping griddle in place just to help with easy cleanup later on. So light your fire starter, allow those coals a few minutes to get going, then you can place on your grate. I'm going to be using the Pro Port. We will be monitoring temperatures today with a remote thermometer. Next, get your lid on and open the vents wide open. I won't be using the lower vent today. I'll be using the smoke hole as the lower vent. We're going to open that wide open to get that temperature up. Our target temperatures for the first part of today's cook are going to be 225 to 250 Fahrenheit. So once my kettle gets up to about 150 degrees, I'm going to start choking back those vents until I get it dialed in. Here's what my final vent settings look like, but keep in mind there's a lot of environmental variables, so yours may be a little bit different. Our lamb has been in the fridge for a couple hours. It's ready to go. Our cooker's all set to go. Temps are dialed in. We've got some nice clean smoke. If you want to know more about how to get clean smoke and why it's important, I'll put a link to a video right up here in the iCard for you to check out. Now let's get outside and get this lamb on. So the lamb goes on the indirect side of the cooker for the first part of this cook. And we also have a probe in to monitor temperatures with a remote thermometer. Now lid on. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and just allow this lamb to get up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature. I'll bring you back at that point and show you where we go from there. The lamb just hit 90 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature. Now we're just doing a quick check. We've got great color here. They're coming along perfectly. There's no need to move these at this point. We're just checking in, and it's time to start prepping for the sear. So I've got 2/3 full chimney of briquettes. I'm gonna go ahead and let that get blazing hot while we're allowing this to come up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So another 15 to 20 minutes has gone by, and these lamb chops have hit 115 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature. We are now going to pull these and just let them rest for a few minutes while we set up this grill for the sear. Our hot coals are in the Slow and Sear. They're spread out evenly, and I did have this grate off resting, getting cool in the meantime. Now we're going to place this grate back on. Place our lamb chops on the cool side and spin these over the direct heat. And within just a few seconds, the sear will start. 1 minute later, we're going to do a quarter turn. And we're going to flip these back onto the heat on the other side. Another minute has passed. Quarter turn. Now we want to flip these onto their side. This is where those straighter bones come into place, because otherwise these have a tendency to want to tip over. So we're going to give this one more minute, one more quarter turn, one more sear on that last side. Quarter turn. Now to get our last side. Just give this about 1 minute. We're shooting for a final temperature today of about 130 degrees Fahrenheit in the middle. So anywhere between 125 and 135 is good, and you can be the judge of that depending on your preference. Let's take a look at that beautiful sear. All right, we are just about at 130. So we're at about 129 degrees. This is the perfect time to pull these. I'm going to go ahead and get these plated up. So we're back inside out of that wind. Now we'll just let these rest for a few minutes. Let's go ahead and cut one open and see how we did. We nailed this cook and it smells glorious in my kitchen. Let's see how we did. Cheers, everybody. So look, I've got to tell you, that's as good as any ribeye that you're ever gonna have. I mean, it's absolutely delicious. Some people accuse a lamb of having a gamey taste. This was not gamey. This tastes just like ribeye. That cold grate technique really did an outstanding job putting a great crust on the outside of this lamb. Everything we did from chopping to searing comes out in this end result. It's absolutely amazing. And I'll have all the details down in the description box for you in case you have any questions. I really enjoyed hanging out with you today. Thank you so much for your time. Remember, 2 zones are better than 1. And I'll see you on the next video.